lost. There's always a hope. Rise and fight.
Welcome back, guys. We've already finished our first best of the 5 today. It was a complete dismantling of Dandy. Dawid winning 3-0. I think each game was faster than 10 minutes. Just absolute massacre. And now we're going to be going into our second TVP, which is going to be Gypsy versus Zhanhun. Hoping that we're going to get into some mid-game play, man, because that was just such a destruction from Dawid that I feel like we didn't even get to see anybody's strategies really unfold.
Well, I can't see it being shorter than that series. So, well, yeah, we'll see how it goes. But what are your thoughts on the match? What are you looking at?
Well, see, I think Gypsy's Terran vs. Protoss is absolutely nuts. You watch him play, his macro is impeccable. He's got easily the best Marine micro I've ever seen in the foreign scene. You know, in fact, if you listen to his stream where it says, is it Flash? I mean, that's me, because that's my genuine reaction to his Marine micro. It's crazy how good it is. But Zhanhun versus bo5 last week, he beat a 4-time BSL champion, and he beat him, he out-microed him, he out-macroed him. That's impressive. So I think that this should be a very even match, but because he's taking down champion level play in the BSL, is Zhanhun a favorite? That's like what I'm going through. That's what's going through my head. Like, is he going to kill Gypsy here?
Well, if that's even a question, the answer is probably yes, just because, as I said before, I generally favor Protoss over Terran, especially in the fourth level. And Gypsy is a monster, though, as you said. He was originally a Warcraft 3 player, right?
I don't think so. I know he played BroodWar in.
I remember you guys talking years ago when I first kind of met him. I remember you guys talking about him and just how you guys told him to be a Terran player because his mechanics were just so crazy.
Yeah, he was a Zerg player. I told him to play Terran because I was like, dude, your mechanics are nuts. Like, you have to have nuts mechanics to play Zerg because you got to screen switch all the time. But I felt like, okay, you play ladder and you get ZVZ, right? Which doesn't really test your macro mechanics there. I'm like, well, I mean, that's kind of just a wasted matchup of this potential that I'm seeing here. And then also you're playing in lag a lot, ZVT, where it's really hard to mute a micro. So I'm just sitting there like, dude, just play Terran. You're going to be a monster at it. You got all your buildings right next to each other. You're going to be a macro machine. And to answer your... Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, and that was obviously the right decision because he is a freaking monster.
Yeah, he's insane. Not just TVP, TVZ, he's insane. I mean, his Terran versus Terran, like, he macros so well. I played him, I think, in, what was it, the Ascension tournament, and he just busted my natural. I'm like, wait a minute, or my third base. I'm like, dude, you know I'm Terran, right? I have siege mode in mines, and it was almost like he's just bored. He's like, yeah, I'm just tired of this guy in my game. I'm just go bust him, and I lost. He's ridiculous. Yeah. And as far as Zhanhun, though, like I said, he out-microed, out-macroed. I'm trying to think, have we seen him PvT? I feel like we have, but...
It says 100% win rate against Terran.
Yeah, I have to go look at what actual matches he played versus Terran, because he played versus Mihu last week, and he ended up losing 2-0. He definitely had potential to win, because he slammed Mihu's attack on good night, and I thought, okay, this is going to be the game. This is going to be the game where Mihu finally dies to a Protoss. But in the end, Mihu just too strong, and even Zhanhun with massive lead lost that game.
Yeah, it looks like in the round of 24, I just looked it up, it looks like he beat Vulture. Group A. So
yeah,
that would be the PvT.
Yeah, I don't remember that game. I think I was in the process of moving, so I may have missed that series. But regardless, Zhanhun last week, he was impressive versus bo5. But I would say that even though he lost to Mihu 2-0, Gypsy does not play like Mihu. Mihu is a 4-fat guy, 5-fat guy, late upgrades, take bases after his attack, and Gypsy just doesn't play like that. And sometimes it just comes down to styles. Like, if you're strong versus 2-1, you're going to be good versus someone like Gypsy because that's what he likes to play.
Yeah. All right, so we are ready for the game.
Yep, we are ready. Let's get into game 1. It's Good Night, Gypsy versus Zhanhun. Okay, in the top left, our Chinese Protoss player, it is Zhanhun.
And the bottom left, we have our Terran player, Gypsy.
Yeah, so as I stated previously, Dandy definitely loves gasless expand. I would say Gypsy is more balanced in the sense where he'll sometimes go for 12 gas, sometimes go for gasless. I would say his chance of going 14 CC is less than 5%, but also in his arsenal. And we had a massive donation. Thank you so much for the big support there. That makes us a little bit closer to our $5,000 goal for the season. So if you are thinking about supporting the BSL, definitely consider making a donation directly towards Zero or becoming Patreon supporter or sub. Now look at that pylon placement. Do you see that? What is that? Okay, there's the gate. There's the gate.
Yeah, maybe he's just hoping he's gonna put everything up top and Gypsy will maybe miss scout him. I don't know, but I'm sure he knows the map because this is his map choice. So
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about Gypsy for a second. Now, you know him really well. I've played him a lot. He isn't going for a gasless. We got the final like he suspected. I'll say this about him. I've played Gypsy a lot, and his mechanics and his macro is insane. It's so hard to beat him. Late game, he's so safe. Early game, he likes getting his vultures out, but he does it safely early. If there's one thing I think he's a little weak on, is I said in the previous series, Gypsy will take his third really early off almost nothing. Like where most Terrans like have to wait like 30 seconds to feel safe to take a third, he's just like, I got this. And I always feel like there's a little window to break a third on Gypsy, but you have to know him so well, and even then it's 50-50. But that's the only weak. I play him so much. It's the only weakness I can say that, or opening I can think of in play because it's just so good, so solid.
Yeah, and we do see a Zealot opener from Zhanhun, and it is going to be range and goon follow-up, so it's going to be the Zealot goon combo that we see very often these days. The SCV saw the Zealot moving out, and I think a bunker has started, but maybe not. He definitely did not skip. Oh, he did skip Marines, actually. So this could get dicey because Zhanhun is going to find Gypsy in the first position. Bunker's just barely going to complete in time, but SCV's already in position. I'm surprised Zhanhun didn't go for the run by there because he did not know if there were SCVs on the ramp or not. Some Protoss players will just go for it, but he does pull back correctly, and he's not going to sack that Zealot.
I don't know Zhanhun that well, but I did watch that entire series with Bonnet and Mihu, and his fundamentals were so good, and when I look at how he even played against Bonnet, was he going to deny this SCV? No, it does get in. When I watch how he approached PvP, which tells you a lot about like a Protoss's kind of psyche, he played very safe and solid. He didn't take any risks or anything, and you see that again with how he opened this game. Literally, Zealot first, into Goon with range, into an expansion. That's cookie cutter. Like if you learn PvT, this is the build that you want to learn. And Gypsy's kind of doing the same version of that. Oh, is the Vulture gonna get in? No.
He doesn't commit to it. He's worried that there could be a second Goon, and a lot of times there is a second Goon on hold position. And this time around, Zhanhun would have taken damage if that had gotten in. And he did cut range to get his Nexus. Like, he faked it. He showed Gypsy range, and then he canceled it, took the Nexus, and then instantly got range back up. Here comes the vulture again, but for now it's just going to posture in front of the base, get a little intel, see if anything else moves out.
Yeah, you see mines get researched. I like showing the first vulture because, and even the second. Ooh, okay, so that's Zhanhun just confirming this is going to be a command center. I like showing the vulture because once you know a vulture is on the map, you don't want to leave. Like you were scared to leave, and now he confirms mines, and now he really doesn't want to leave and throw on any pressure. But
Yeah.
it just keeps Protoss back.
Yep, it does. And anytime the Protoss moves, they got to be careful to not run into a mine. Of course, they can't see it, so I mean, how careful can they be? They're just basically flipping a coin, hoping that they don't run into anything. Behind this, it is tank follow-up, and there is gas. I didn't see the main if we have an armory already, but probably simply because that's just gypsy style. Yeah, okay. Armory's about to finish, so this is about a 5-10-ish armory. Not as fast as a lot of games I see from Gypsy, but still going to be setting up for that 12:30 to 1 timing.
Yeah, you can see Zhanhun was trying to keep vultures away from that third. He sent a goon over there really fast. And Gypsy got vultures in anyways and is going to delay this third. I think Zhanhun did want to take it early. We're only seeing him on 2 gateway right now. So this is actually delaying it quite a bit.
Yeah, this is a good delay. And of course, Protoss wants to take this base, not necessarily because there's gas, but because there's an additional mineral patch compared to the mineral only at the left side. Oh my gosh, does he get the probe? He does! And those were dead vultures. They had no business of getting any damage done. So that's a big mistake from Zhanhun. It's going to delay the third base about 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, he already delayed it. Like, he probably delayed this close to a minute, which is huge.
Yeah, the way builds have been optimized these days is any type of delay is going to be very impactful. And we do see the turret ring coming up. It's not going to be in time for the observer. The observer's still going to get in, but I don't think Gypsy necessarily cares if the observer sees what's going on because he's still going to go into 2-1. He's not Mihu. He's not going to be trying to hide 4 facts or 5 facts or whatever. It is just going to be standard Terran versus Protoss that you see all of the pros play.
So what does he go into here? Does he just go into a third? Take his third, go 2-1, hit a 2-1 timing?
Yeah, that's probably what it's gonna be. It's not like a 420 or 430 armory, so probably not 3-2, but you definitely can go for 3-2. Third factory coming down because he rushed armory and because he got 2 vultures out. His unit count is a bit low, so he wants to make sure when he takes that third base, he's not too low in units and won't be able to successfully take it. So that's why you see the third fact instead of the command center and starport coming up. But he does need to get that starport coming up pretty soon if he hasn't started it already.
I think he hasn't started.
Well, he got a crucial scan and he saw the natural has no gas. Zhanhun, he needs to get his gas up and running. As Protoss, you really prioritize minerals, but we're approaching 8-9 minutes. Like, okay, need gas here because all this can be from Protoss now is, well, it can't be Arbiter because you're gas starved. It can't be Templars because you're gas starved. It can only be Gateway Man. And I guess Zhanhun just really wants to shut down this third base.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to delay it. Now, it does look with the science facility that he is going for, and the third gets started. But it does look like he's going for a 2-1 time like we talked about. What does that hit at exactly? 1430?
2-1 is 12:30.
12:30.
What you do is you add 7 minutes to the armory that started, and it started at 5:10, so it's going to be technically 12:10 if he hits everything. But actually, he's missed it by a few seconds, so it's still going to be around 12:30, which is fine because Terran's not maxed out at 12:10, so this is a fine timing. But what Gypsy needs to do now is build the hell out of Vultures and Goliaths. He's got a good tank count. You don't need a lot of tanks to take your third base. And just slowly creep to his third base. And like I said, he scanned the main and the nat. He knows the gas timing. Like, Arbiter's going to be so late. As long as he secures third and fourth base, he's going to be feeling like he's in a comfortable position. Now, unfortunately for him, I don't think he realizes there's an observer in his base. So this drop is going to get probably picked off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, he barely gets out. All right.
Yeah,
One hit.
barely. He's gonna, I don't know what this is so dangerous. Like, he didn't even scan the middle of the map to see if the goons are there, and he's sending the tanks that direction, or the dropship that direction. He does unload and set up a minefield, which could be annoying. If Zhanhun's not thinking about it, his zealots might run straight into that.
We got a fourth going down too. Yeah, this observer in the main of Terran's huge. Shut down this dropship.
This is interesting. You see where the drop is going? He can sit on the high ground of the main at top right, and actually just kill probes at the mineral only. I think he should definitely hide this for now.
Yeah. Because you're never going to expect that.
Yeah, like, it definitely in the middle of the battle. Imagine if you siege it up while getting busted at your third base. I mean, this tank is going to rack up every single probe kill over there.
Yeah, I just sit there, siege it, wait for that probe transfer cup get massacred.
Well, that's exactly what he's done. He has unloaded it, and Zhanhun is just sitting outside of Terran's base. This was his goal with the late gas, is just have infinity units and say, like, hey man, you want this third base? Okay, well, you're going to have to work for it. And Zhanhun is almost max, actually. He's at 170 supply already at the 11-minute mark.
Yeah, maybe it's just how Gypsy plays against me, but he never does this against me. This is the safest he's ever taken a third. I've ever seen him take a third.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I was surprised to hear you say that, because actually this is what Gypsy talks about with me, is doing exactly this, is he slowly takes his third base with third or fourth factory. And in this scenario, this is the perfect move.
Yeah.
There's that probe transfer. The tank, I'm wondering, is it sieged or not?
I think it's just that vision of everything.
Oh, it's not
sieged yet.
Oh my gosh, it could have killed so many probes. But actually it would help Zhanhun, because he has 80 probes. That's way too many for TVP. Will he realize? I don't even think he can see the probes there.
Well, I think you're okay. I think you're okay having a little too many probes here. Yeah, 80 might be. Oh, here we go.
Oh my god, this is so much Protoss. Where's Gypsy's army? There's a lot on the high ground. It's not here. These tanks are going to get blown up. Zealot bomb on top of the tanks on the high ground. And this is going to be busted. I think the Reavers also survive. This is just an overwhelming amount of units from Zhanhun. Actually, that tank at top right did get repositioned, so he's racking up probe kills. But it doesn't matter, because Gypsy already lost all of his tanks. And you can see +2 has kicked in, the 1230 timing that I talked about. But his tank count has been reset.
Yeah, and from the Protoss perspective, like, resetting the tank count here is just huge. I mean, that's all you want to do. You'll do that all game, because it just means that, well, Terran can't attack you forever, you know? So, oh, we got 4th CNC. It's like Gypsy's just going to want to slow push, take his 4th, and let's move into the late game.
Yeah, I was not expecting to see a 4th CC. That's very unusual. I thought for sure we would see 7 factories at least before starting the 4th command center. But I guess he thought that he was going to take this base easier than he expected. But actually now Zhanhun has backed off, and he's giving the 3rd base to Gypsy. And at least Zhanhun has Templar tech. He's still lacking the high-tech arbiters or carriers. But at least he has some AoE in the army. And something subtle about killing probes is, you notice Zhanhun has rebuilt them. And now he's even higher in probe count, which makes his army even weaker than it was before.
Yeah, he just wants to get, I guess, a huge bank.
Yeah.
And, sometimes when you're in positions like this as Protoss, you're okay having too many probes, and if you know that you're gonna be using that bank, reinforcing carriers, just trading interceptors for gas. I don't know, but it definitely means he's not going to crush any attack when Gypsy does come out.
Well, this is a great timing for Zhanhun. He's going to unload the Zealots and the Templars. Instant response from Gypsy. How many SCVs are going to die? The answer is 0 so far. Maybe 2 or 3 from that secondary storm. but not a successful drop. Okay, Templar's getting the main. Now they're going to find some success. Well, did they? Okay, there's a good storm right there, blanketing the rest of the probes, or the SCVs. Now they get like 5, 6, 7 SCV kills. But still, 57 SCV count is still okay for Terran. But look at that probe count, 91. It's crazy.
What? Oh, that's insane.
Well, like you said, having too many probes isn't necessarily bad if you recognize that, okay, I have a lot of probes. I'm going for carriers in particular. If you're not going to do that, if you're just going to go gateway man or, you know, arbiters or storm, I mean, you're not going to trade effective with that type of army. So Zhanhun needs to be careful now because he's still building probes at 93 now.
Yeah, I don't see any, you know, like weapons upgrade or anything coming for him, like air weapons. So I don't see carriers coming anytime soon.
Wow, is Zhanhun going to catch Gypsy on a counterattack with these vultures? It looks like he is. Gypsy moving those vultures out of position, and Zhanhun's going to try and bust this fourth base. If Gypsy had the vultures here, I think this is a completely different battle. But again, gonna get caught out of position. Oh no, actually, reinforcing units from Gypsy might barely hold, and now he's got vultures across the map. He's intercepting a probe transfer, actually helping Zhanhun, I would say.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, well, when you have 90 probes, you're never gonna have that big of an army. So,
well, he doesn't realize it's 90. I think he really thinks it's probably like 75, but he's unknowingly built way too many, and we'll see if he's going to rebuild more. I think now maybe he's recognized because we don't see any more being queued up. Yeah, he's transferring from his main and that.
More High Templar.
Well, what do you think about this, though? Because you're the first Protoss player we're going to have on the cast, at least with me. What do you think of Templar style compared to Arbiter or Carriers? Do you like this style?
No, but most because it's too hard for me to execute.
Okay.
Like, I think it's good on certain maps. Like, the first one that comes to mind is like Blue Storm, where you just fighting uphill and stuff. Like Storm would be really good, but it's just really hard, and vultures can pick them off really easily. It's so gas intensive. I think especially when you're playing PvT late game, I think going for carriers is better, especially if you have a start like this where it's like super macro oriented, because you know you're always going to have a bank, and then you just trade minerals for gas. But Zhanhun's way better than me, and look at how he's doing it.
And this time the Storms still don't get any SCV kills. Really nice transfer from Gypsy there to save literally every single SCV. And that drop, even though it shuts down the base, I would say is not a successful drop right there. Tank drop got shut down too, so that was nicely done from Zhanhun. But Gypsy scanned the Arbiter Tribunal, so he knows that Arbiters have just now started. So he's approaching max with no worry of a stasis, only has to worry about Templars. I think he'd be feeling pretty good about that situation and go for a push any moment now. He's one of the few players that never skips on vessels. So he's definitely going to have EMP available, but it's a little bit harder, in my opinion, to land EMPs versus unloaded Templars compared to Arbiters.
Yeah, and Gypsy is starting to move out now. He's unsieging all those tanks, and you can see, I mean, his army is just massive. Absolutely massive. And we have no high tech for Protoss except for Storm.
Oh, there's a big engagement in the center of the map, but is he too far forward? Another shuttle bomb. And they do unload on the tanks. I was not expecting to see Zealots in those shuttles, actually. Thought it was going to be Storm. But all the Zealots died. Now all that's really left is Goons. But this is still a good trade for Zhanhun. It's 180 supply versus 140. He's just buying time to get out those Arbiters.
Yeah, and you got gateways in the top right. I think it's just beautiful.
Ooh, that
big storm drop.
Well, it still didn't kill that many SCVs. He's still at 72. And now Tank Man is moving across the map with the 3-1 upgrades. Supplies are so high for Protoss. Oh, maybe Terran realized he had too many SCVs. He's sacking some of them. Or maybe, I'm not sure exactly what this is. Or he's just pulling the boys, G5.
Yeah, he's doing StarCraft 2 style right now. Pulling the boys.
Well, I saw 5 shuttles at top left. And shuttles are great, but you have to consider, okay, that's 10 supply. That's not army.
Yeah, 10 supply, radio, so many probes. Yeah, it's... I don't know. This is a weird style for me. I don't see how you trade super effectively against Aaron, but he's going to show you how. Because, wow.
I think Gypsy would have been in trouble if the entirety of Zhanhun's army was right there. Shuttle bomb comboed with goon follow-up, but the goons, or Gypsy's going to get away with it for now, and we're going to have a big counterattack. There's no mines. Okay, there's a few mines, but there's no tanks. And this is the move that Zhanhun needed to make. All the units were out of position on the right side, scrambling as Gypsy to get into position on the left side. Remember, there are shuttles here, so he can just drop on top of the army. Instead, he's going to try and unload at the rally point, storm on the high ground, but there's only one single storm. Zhanhun's still going to continue to push, though.
Oh, all these tanks are begging to get dropped on.
Yeah, but there's no support for them. Okay, now the Goliaths are going to start shooting down some of the shuttles. Templars unloading on the high ground. Supplies have plummeted for Gypsy down to 130, 180 for Zhanhun. Still no storm. Okay, there's going to be a storm right there, but he's on top of the production now, and he's starting to take the key bases, mid-left and mid-right. He's on, what is this, 9 base mining, 8 base mining for Protoss?
Yeah, the supply is just win-win for Gypsy. And Gypsy doesn't have the bank like John to reinforce. And even if he does make it now, like, he's got an army in his base. Gypsy did sneak a 5th though. That's nice.
Yeah, that's a big deal, and he still kept his SCV count at 74. So just like Protoss, he's going to have a big bank. I've noticed that Gypsy has a lot of gas, so he's had his 4th and 5th gas running for a long time. Should consider putting on more add-ons because, you know, in TVP, the game-winning unit is the tank. It's not the vulture. You really want to have the tank count as high as possible. A big probe transfer to mid-right and mid-left pretty soon. Gypsy needs to find those bases because you can manage split map as Terran, but if Protoss is going to be up 2 bases the whole game, that's when you really get in trouble. Another shuttle bomb to bottom right. There is a Goliath this time, so they might be able to knock them down. Instead, they're going to head to the 4th base, but again, double turret setup.
Yeah,
is there a Templar?
Tank.
No Templar.
No.
So this drop should get cleaned up, but it does make the game chaotic. And again, Gypsy's 4th base is going to be shut down for now. A recall into the main, didn't even see it, and instant GG.
Wow.
Wow, I
Just
guess
everywhere.
Yeah, he was literally just everywhere. He was on the right side of the map, then he's at your natural, and now he goes for the drop, and now he's got the Arbiter recall in your main. That was absolutely amazing play from Zhanhun, because it really looked like, to me, Gypsy was going to stabilize and get the unkillable army and go for the death push. But he never went across the middle of the map. Never. Except with, what, 2 vultures and a dropship? That's it.
Yeah, I was about to say, Gypsy's got 3-2 kicked in. He's going to start trading favorably. Unique arbiters, unique carriers. Guess we're learning things over here because, you know, he was just fine. He just tore him apart everywhere. He was relentless, wouldn't stop. And crazy game sense. Know exactly where Gypsy would be and just methodically pull him apart.
Yeah, and it just, I mean, it looked like a decent position for Gypsy, but like I said, I guess the momentum was in Zhanhun's favor the whole game. Never let up. And as Terran, you've got to have some comfortability as you're pushing, and I guess he just never had that. And he just gets picked apart, like you said. So our Protoss players today, demolishing the Terran players. Yeah. Gypsy getting into mid-game and late game where I think he really shines. And it still didn't matter.
I mean, Gypsy's just... I mean, just think of what happened in the last, 20 seconds of that game. You had shuttles drop bottom right and 6 o'clock. And then you had recall in the main. Like, Gypsy's just like, you gotta be effing kidding me. This is insane. You know, he's everywhere. I mean, once the recall goes off, he's just like, alright, we're out of here.
Well, split map Terran is one of the hardest styles to play because Terran units are powerful, but they have to be in critical numbers. And whenever you have to split them up like that, you can see even just small moves like 3 shuttles or a single recall can just end the game. And it caught Gypsy completely off guard. And that means that Zhanhun is going to be up 1-0. We don't know. I don't think we know who the map picked. Who picked Goodnight? But I know Gypsy hates Goodnight, so I have a
John who picked Goodnight, and
Yeah.
the next map is going to be Ascension, which is Gypsy's pick.
Yeah, so we talked about this map earlier. And I was saying that even though I veto this, I knew Gypsy for a fact likes Ascension for whatever reason. It fits his playstyle. Get the 4 bases, get the heavy upgrades, and then go for the killing blow. But if you don't get a killing blow, as we stated earlier, if somebody goes carriers, oh man, is it a nightmare. It is just so punishing how they can come in, kill buildings, and then instantly be back in the center of the map. It's very similar to Talcross or Blue Storm in that sense.
Yeah, and Zhanhun's playstyle, I would be scared as a Terran. Like, it's so hard to pull off that style. I can't even describe it to people. Like, but when it's like, it has to be just super scary as a Terran player because you don't know what's coming at you. And it's funny because it started so safe and so standard, and then just turned into a very modern, just shuttle man, pull you apart, everywhere sort of style. Span like a Zerg. Like, as a Terran, I would be petrified after that game.
Yeah, especially when you see that you're just getting picked apart by shuttles left and right. Like, he scanned the Arbiter timing, he knew it was not super fast. In my point of view, if I'm Terran and I scan not fast Arbiters or not fast carriers, I'm thinking, thank you, sir. I'll play versus this all day long. But it just didn't matter because Zhanhun's multitask too good. Let me count. He had 9 bases actually last game. He had the entire top side of the map and both middle bases. Just insane eco from him. And it was just perfect.
Yeah, he was attacking, harassing everywhere. And, you know, when we would pan around to his bases, I would look at him and think, well, none of them are vulnerable anywhere. I don't know what Gypsy does. Like, he was shutting down drops. He was just everywhere. His mechanics and fundamentals were really top notch.
Well, our map is ready. Let's get into game 2. It's going to be Gypsy versus Zhanhun on Ascension. So in the top middle, with some impressive play in the last game on Goodnight, it is Zhanhun.
And at the 8 o'clock, we got the Red Terran, Gypsy.
Yep, so this map, I think I remember Gypsy playing Gasless on this map a couple times, whether it was this BSL or previous BSLs. So I would not be surprised to see it again.
Oh, is this a... No, this is a standard probe time. So, talk to me about these positions. Is there a favorable one for...
Well, it's definitely not mid-left. You want any position on this map, it's not mid-left. And the reason for that is mid-left does not have any of those mineral boosting positions that, if you listen to ASL, Scan always talks about. You really want to get top middle because it has, I think, 3 boosted positions, something like that. It's by far the best position to get. And Zhanhun's going to take advantage of this. This is going to be a 12 Nexus.
Well, you watch Gypsy a lot. You're friends with him. How's he usually handle 12 Nexus?
Oh, if he finds you going 12 Nexus, he's going for the throat. He's pulling the boys. He's going Marines. But, like I said, he likes Gasless on this map in particular for whatever reason. And my opinion is if you're not going to have Vulture support, it's just really hard to take down a Nexus with only Marines and SCVs. So I'm curious if he will actually pull here.
I thought at first he was going to scout the 12 o'clock position, but no, he will not find Zhanhun first. He's going to find him second, and it's looking pretty good for Protoss.
Yeah, this is the dream opener. You're going to have 12 Nexus versus Gasless. I mean, Terran can't punish it. If they do, or if they try, should be a somewhat easy hold. And in fact, because Protoss knows you're Gasless, if I was Protoss, I'd be taking another Nexus instantly. Because what are you going to attack me with? Marines? I don't think so. But I mean, maybe that's a little bit too greedy, but that's just personally what I would do. For now, Zhanhun has not put down a second gateway. He's just going to go straight into his cybernetics.
Well, after watching the DeWalt series, I think I would just make Shell and Reaver and just go win the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I have a feeling whenever I hit some foreigners on the ladder that play BSL, if I open gasless, I may see that happen to me a few times. Luckily for me, I don't gasless often, so hopefully by the time I do that, they'll have forgotten about that move. SCV, yeah, you can't lose it this quickly, but he does force off, what is this, 5 probes for mining, but I guess he's just going to use this to transfer. And now the SCV dies, and that's kind of a big deal, because Zhanhun doesn't have many games in BSL. He hasn't shown any kind of gimmicky plays like fast DT or anything. But now with the intel gone, we could see a fast Citadel or even fast Stargate or something very, very weird.
Yeah, and as Terran, when you don't get a scout, and it looks like he's sending another SCV to try and get a scout. No, he's not. So when you don't have intel, you kind of have to respect that, right? You got to put that money down for turrets or for scan.
Yeah, you gotta at least, if you're not gonna go eBay, you gotta at least get Academy and scan, but then you have to hold the scans because you don't know if the DT's coming. And with eBay, you have to, at minimum, put 1 turret at your natural. Don't necessarily need one in your main for a while. And what is that? That has to be Robo, right? Okay, there it is. It is going to be Robo. So for now, Zhanhun just playing very normal, and he is only on 1 gateway. So, like I said, he's gonna get away with a great opener here, not even having to go into a second gate very quickly.
Yeah, and it looks like you skipped range for that quick robo.
Yep, this is the new meta, G5. You skip anytime you can skip range, you skip that sucker, because Robo is so punishing. You come in, sometimes Terran doesn't even have a turret because it's so fast.
Same. And he's gonna sack the probe just to confirm that there is in fact the expansion.
Yeah, a bit of I don't want to necessarily say an anti-timing, but if he had come in a little bit later, like 5:10 or something, maybe, he may have seen a gas and then possibly would have thought, like, okay, this is going to be armory style, this is going to be fast upgrades, because you really need a lot of gas for that. Whereas with 2-fact, you don't necessarily need super fast gas because you're going to be building a bunch of vultures, generally, unless you're going, only tanks. So he did miss it by a few seconds.
This isn't even Reaver. This is just, I'm going to get an observer. Yeah,
I'm going
to get an observer, get right in your base, and I just want to see what you're doing. I want nothing to catch me off guard. I think I'll play it.
It's going to be observer support bay, I'm pretty sure. Maybe not, though. We did see support, or we did see Reavers last game. I imagine that's probably going to be the same style here, because Reavers are just so good. You don't even necessarily have to harass with them. You can just sit outside their base, and you stalled Gypsy's 3rd base forever. It didn't even kill that many tanks, but it just stalled the 3rd base for a long time. And if there's ever a timing, you want Reavers to kill the timing. I mean, that's how you stop timings, is with the Reavers. The Scarabs are ridiculous. Shuttle Micro, if you've got it, just makes the Reaver almost impossible to kill. So I do imagine we'll see at some point support bay get put down.
We got a 3rd going from John. And yeah, just moving into that macro style. 4 more gateways, got the Citadel coming up. We just pumping observers at the moment.
Well, this so far means that we're not going to have support bay. The Citadel 630 support Citadel I talked about in the previous game. You go gasless as Terran, it kind of ramps up your build about 30 seconds. And when you're playing Protoss 3-base Arbiter timing max, you generally get your Citadel. Yeah.
Look at this 6 o'clock. I love this.
Yeah.
Like,
well, this is what you have to do.
Yeah, you don't expect this from Terrans, and you get that first observer in there saying, like, all right, is there going to be a quick 3rd? Is there going to be 6-fact? Like, what's happening here? And he doesn't say anything.
Well, this is the reason you do this is because Gypsy scanned. He knows it's observer, and he knows there's Citadel, and that means you have to have taken your nat gas. And as I stated, this is going to be fast Arbiter, because this is just what you do when you get a Citadel timing like this. And think about it. You're mining gas more than last game. Remember, Zhanhun didn't even take his nat gas until he was over 100 supply. So he's putting more resources into gas, which are not minerals, which means he has less units. You have to just go instantly take a third base versus something like this. So this is perfection from Gypsy so far.
Zhanhun sees it and just can't instantly put down fourth.
Yeah, and that's what you should do. And actually, in a lot of games where Flash sees this, he even puts down a fourth base. However, Gypsy did not see the fourth base go down, and this is not a map like Circuit Breakers where it's kind of easy to get a fourth base, like after you take your mineral only. So it may be a little bit too ambitious to put down a fourth command center, but you do see on some maps that are more safe with a fourth base, you just instantly put that sucker down, because you know the Protoss army count is still kind of low. Like, look at it, it's 110 to 85, but there's a 12 worker gap, so it's actually, you know, kind of like 110 to almost 100 right now. And Terran will trade pretty well versus something like that.
Yeah. See +1 weapons coming from Protoss, and everything just looks like it's ramping up. Get that Arbiter coming. So you are the timekeeper of StarCraft. At least that's how I see you. You seem to know all the timing. So once an Arbiter starts, how long till you get stasis? A minute?
So it's a minute and 40 to start the Arbiter. Then it's essentially a minute to get at 50 energy. So if you really want to calculate it, minute and 40 plus 2 minutes, but it's actually closer to like 2:15. So I just say once the Arbiter starts, 4 minutes is when recall hits, or about 3 minutes when stasis hits. So we see that the Arbiter started recently. This is going to be around like an 11:30 stasis timing, something like that. And, you know, we saw this in a recent game of ASL, and Terran narrowly held it. But this is such a hard style to hold. But at the same time, Zhanhun is building more and more Nexus, which means it's not unit. So he may just be banking up that energy instead of going for a bust.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like, if I'm doing the math correctly, it seems like he should have a stasis ready for when 121 hits at like 12:30.
Oh yeah,
so
for sure.
He'll have 5 base, he'll have max, and he'll have a stasis. So he should do all right. And with this 5th base, it's gonna mean, you know, he's gonna have a bigger bank, and Zhanhun is so good at pumping those probes. So he's gonna have a bank, so he's gonna be able to trade pretty favorably. He's getting that gateway explosion up, and he should be able to reinforce pretty quickly too. So I don't know. It's looking good for both. I can't say one over the other, but oh my goodness, he's a Zerg. He's a Zerg at heart.
I kind of like Zhanhun's position, but the more I see these Nexus go down, the more I'm worried that we're gonna get up to the 90 probe count again. And it's a little different than a 4-player map. Like, you can just go for a concentrated attack somewhere. But what I noticed in Zhanhun's main also is he has double forge. And 2-1 for Protoss is surprisingly strong versus 2-1 of Terran. So he's not going to have it for the initial 2-1, but if he can stall the attack a little bit, maybe he can get 2-1 to match versus Gypsy's 2-1. First Arbiter is out, as I stated. It will or should have a single stasis pretty soon at around 13:30. Maybe it will have, see, we're within 5 seconds of having the stasis energy. So this was pretty much exactly as expected, and that's a lot. I mean, that army actually isn't that big for Protoss.
No, but it looks like he's gearing up for a recall. But Gypsy's on top of it. He's got these turrets. He's got mines. He's having none of it. And God, look at his base. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bases already. Like, what is happening here? You know you need units, right?
Yeah, you gotta have actual units, man. I mean, he does have units. He's gonna have triple Arbiter. It's not like last game where he only had 1 Arbiter. A Terran is not scared of 1 Arbiter, but once the Arbiter count gets to like 3, 4, 5, all of a sudden you can start chaining stasises, and that's when the real trouble starts. Now, if Zhanhun attacks here, that would be a real blunder for him. I would be very surprised if he does that, but that Arbiter is about 20 seconds away from having recall. There's a lot of turrets set up, a lot of mines set up, And I'm looking at surface area. Can stuff really recall right there? I would say not really.
Yeah, Gypsy's on top of it, and alright, we got that 150 energy. Let's see when he goes at. Does he wait for Terran to move out?
I think that's what you should do because you know Terran's going to be out of position. But at the same time, you know that means Terran has already set up all their mines. So you're kind of in a conundrum, right? You want to get them while they're out of position, but you also know he's already set up the position, the defensive position. Well, here comes the 2-1. As I stated, it's a 13-minute 2-1. He knows where the army... Yep, there's the Arbiter. And... Okay. It's going to potentially knock down the armory, but it just started +3, so not a huge deal.
Yeah, not a huge deal. And Gypsy's going to move out and take control of the center of the map. And I mean, it's just too much Terran right now. But, Zhanhun kind of knows how to do this. He's running around.
Yeah.
Kind of trying to delay this, get some sort of favorable engage, but Gypsy's on top of it.
Yeah, well, what he's doing is he's trying to make it awkward and make it, or be able to buy time. Because remember, those 2 Arbiters completed recently. So if he can get off a double recall, even if he loses bases, like let's imagine he loses all of the right side, like every single one of them, all 4 bases, he still has 5 bases, right? He doesn't necessarily even care about the right side of the map because he still has massive econ. So if he can just get off a decimating killer recall into the main, he'll for sure trade 4 bases for all your factories easily.
So Gypsy even knows how many bases he has. Oh yeah, here comes the second one.
Yeah, and there's no mine set up this time. There's no turrets either. Yeah, but there's no turrets.
Oh my god. Oh, he's got 3 tanks there.
Okay, he lifts off. There's luckily, I would say, a few tanks just completed, so he'll be able to maybe clean this up. And this is what I was talking about. This is the death push from Gypsy, but he's taking a lot of losses on his SCVs, and I don't think he realizes this is actually like 10 base Protoss. I mean, he may be feeling amazing. Okay, I'm going to kill top left, all of it, and maybe his main. But like I said, he's still going to have 5 bases on the right side of the map.
He is, but he's going to clean up his main. He's doing a pretty good job at it. And he's going to get in here. And if he takes out all these gateways in the main, I mean, that's massive.
Yeah, of course, this is going to be a huge loss for him. Oh, look at that mini recall into the 4th base. Zhanhun everywhere. This is what you do when you have massive eco lead. Just make the game weird. You can trade bases 1 for 1 or 2 for 2 or whatever. You just have to make it weird for Terran, and eventually your eco advantage will kick in. You can see Zhanhun still has a good bank. It's 1k, 300 gas, decent. He's still got 65 workers.
Oh, no.
Well, that was a bit of a mistake there, but he still has all the bases on the right side. He cannot afford to lose all of these units denying the 4th base, though. But SCV count is very small now, just 45, and he does not kill that Arbiter. That may come back to bite him in the near future.
Well, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4 base minus for Protoss right now.
Yeah,
he's about to lose all his gateways.
Well, yeah, now the game's getting very weird. Even though Protoss has all those bases, like I said, and he still has massive eco, he's going to lose all of his gateways potentially. He's going to lose his high-tech stuff, the Stargates, the Citadel, Temple Archive, and that's another recall. Again, Zhanhun doing a good job to just make it weird, make it chaotic for Gypsy. That's not a big recall, though, so this will get cleaned up, and now Zhanhun's bleeding a bit, too many units.
And you know, I mean, Gypsy's going to take the main of Zhanhun, and let me tell you, rebuilding all these gateways, all this tech, all these pylons, I mean, you want to talk about something that's gonna be taxing on your bank. That's definitely part of it. And as long as Gypsy stabilizes, keeps his army together, he should be all right. Because, but Zhanhun's making it rough because Terran's mining 2 bases, just got his 3rd up as 4th.
Yeah. You know what I noticed though is mid left, of course, not running. But the thing that I am noticing is, think about the first game where Zhanhun didn't take his nat gas forever. Tell me how many bases are mining gas on the right side. That's another great recall. But the unit count, but the unit count is just too small. But look at the income for gas for Zhanhun on the right side. He just now started mining gas at his mid right position. Like, even if he wants to build arbiters or goons, He can't. He just doesn't have any gas income. So for now, it's almost pure zealot in whatever standing goon and arbiter count that he has.
Yeah, and it looks like Gypsy does find this 9 o'clock position. He's going to go ahead and take that out. He's going to slowly will away this main, and he's regrouping. And then we're going to have Gypsy at, oh, another recall. He's just, he is making it weird. Exactly what he said. He's just making it weird. Being everywhere, hoping that Gypsy falls apart. He's keeping up with it pretty well.
Yeah, he is. Like, supplies 160 to 145. Terran is still doing very well. If this was a weaker Terran player, for sure, Zhanhun would have taken this because they just simply aren't going to macro as well as Gypsy, and Gypsy's not going to take out bases at the same time while all of this is happening. So impeccable defense from Gypsy while also killing mid-left, and he retook, I guess, the mid-left position here up above his natural. This is another small counterattack to the third base. Gonna kill a couple of tanks, but the Zealots are gonna bleed through, and this is gonna be another recall. Again, he's just relentless.
He's literally everywhere. He's like 1-2 control groups at a time. Just everywhere.
That Arbiter is one hit away from dying.
We're fighting a pill here, so there's a lot of missed shots there. So Zealot's getting some damage on.
Yeah, and there's an Arbiter, remember, at the bottom left corner of the map. If he remembers that that's there, there could be another recall in 20 seconds.
Yeah, and
Zhanhun stabilized, dude. Like, I realize he lost all of his bases, but he has all of his gateways up and running. And even though he doesn't have any more Arbiters other than the one at bottom left, it's still going to be a nuisance if he remembers it.
Gypsy's pulling everything together.
Yep.
He's gonna collapse on this Protoss army, try to take out some more bases.
Gypsy took mid-left also. Like, that's a command center. That's not army at mid-left. So he's got 5 bases versus 4 bases right now for Protoss. So, oh, here comes the recall into the main again. He's got to be wondering, like, where the hell are these Arbiters coming from, dude? Didn't I take that one out? And Gypsy is way out of position.
Here. Yeah, he's just trading so efficiently here, too. He's killing units as they pop out.
I think Protoss did it. I think Gypsy's too far out of position to come back now. He's going to lose all of his factories. And this is going to be... Oh, another recall! Oh, my God! And Gypsy taps out. I can't believe it. I thought for sure, after wiping that many bases and dealing with the few recalls in his main, that he's going to do it. But Zhanhun, even without a Stargate, the Arbiters just appear out of nowhere.
Gypsy has to be thinking, can I ever leave my base?
Yeah.
Like, I leave anywhere without getting attacked. Because 2 games now, like, Zhanhun is literally everywhere. Not just everywhere in your bases, he's also taking all the bases. He's like Azure, he's taking the whole map while he's attacking you everywhere.
Yeah.
Insane.
And like I said, when you get into a weird scenario like that, just try and make it more weird for the opposing player, and that's exactly what he did. That's what you do with recall. It's not necessarily designed to win the game. It's to make an opening for you. And well, he caught Gypsy off guard, going for kill blows at top right, and unfortunately, nothing was there for Gypsy. And that is, as a Terran player, it's painful. But you also got to accept the fact that Zhanhun played it perfectly. That's what you should do in scenarios like that.
He did, and I'm just thinking about it from the Protoss perspective, or from the Terran perspective, and it's like, well, shoot, what do? Do I just leave 30% of my army back home for these recalls? Because if I do, and he does recall, then his whole army's just there, and like, I don't know. That's just rough. Gypsy had a good spot though at a certain point, but Zhanhun was just relentless.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering what is going through Gypsy's head, because, as I stated, he likes upgrade style. In fact, there was a time where he was playing 3-2 style, which means you're getting like a 430 armory, and you're just sitting there and playing for like a 15-minute attack, because that's when +3 kicks in. But if you sit there versus Zhanhun, he's literally going to take every base on the map. Every single one. In fact, he may have even taken Gypsy's 4th if it was available. But of course it wasn't. So to me, it's like, okay, well, now what is Gypsy going to do? Is he just going to accept the fact that this guy is going to have 10 bases, or is he going to try and go for a timing? And you just don't see Gypsy do a lot of 4-fact or 5-fact or 6-fact timing. But think about the one Terran that beat Zhanhun. It was Mihu, and Mihu loves those timings. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe Gypsy will try a timing now, but that's just not something he does often.
Yeah, and it's rough because it's not something that you do often. You're probably not that great at executing it. So I don't know. It's a rough spot to be in.
Yeah, and again, it's going to be Zhanhun's pick, and I have a feeling that it would be Eclipse, because Eclipse is another map that it's hard to. There it is.
There it is.
Okay, let's just get into game 3. No more speculation. I want to see if Zhanhun will close it out 3-0, or if Gypsy will finally put a point on the board.
Almost 400 games on this, and about 50% in PvT. It's a 50% win rate. Wow.
Yeah, so in the top right, up 2-0, it is Zhanhun.
And gearing up for his comeback. We got the North American Hope over here. At the bottom left, we got Gypsy, Red Terran.
Yeah, and as you stated, there are tons of games played on Eclipse. In fact, if you look it up on Spawnbong, it has over 10,000 sponsored matches on this particular map. It's, I think, the highest 2-player map, the most games on a 2-player map. It is very, very popular. But as I was stating, Eclipse, not only is it hard to get a third basis Terran, think about it like this. If Zhanhun is going to take the entire map on Ascension, you know he's going to take the entire map on this map. And it's hard to push to bottom right. Like, let's say he expands to bottom right. It's hard to push to bottom right as Terran because it leaves the left side exposed. So if you push the top, or if you try to just defend top left and push top left, well, then Zhanhun gets all of bottom right, and you're just always going to be down at least one base. So this is going to be a very, very hard situation for Gypsy. There's the gas steal, as expected.
Yeah, and if you're Zhanhun, I mean, you're not trying to change anything, right? Like, I'm thinking this guy can't keep up with me. I'm just going to be everywhere. Every game, everywhere.
That's what I would do. You said, you can't stop me, man. So until you stop me, I'm just gonna literally take every base. I'm doing a count right now. So we've got main Nat, all of bottom right. That's 4. His third base 5, top left 6, 7. So that's 7 bases. And then let's assume Gypsy gets at least his Nat in third base. So that's 3 bases, and maybe he gets his 4th base. So that would be 4 base versus 7 base. Maybe he denies the top left corner. So 4 base versus 6 base. I think that is a likely scenario on this map, especially from what we've seen from Zhanhun. And Terran struggles. I mean, they can deal with 4 base versus 5 base Protoss, but 4 base versus 6 base? That's like an additional 30,000 resources.
Yeah, and I mean, we got 13 Nexus here. And with the gas deal, I mean, what do you do? What are you thinking if you're Gypsy here? I know he's gearing up to get that CC in a second.
You gotta put the command center down. I mean, you can't get your gas, right? So you have to put the command center down. You can't pull because you don't have ultra support. It would be very risky. Protoss doesn't even have to commit to the Nexus. He could just sack it. And then what do you do as Terran?
Yeah.
So he's gonna have to kill his gas now. You need to get that factory up ASAP after taking your command center. And he's gonna have to just play a normal game. I would like to see the vulture expand, but the factory's gonna be so late he can't do that. He's kind of obligated to go into tanks.
Yeah, do you think oh, he is putting down bunker.
Well, this is a nice move because it forces the zealot and it forces you to pull probes. Whether he gets probe kills or not doesn't really matter, because this is a minimal commitment from Gypsy. He's gonna kill a probe. He kills 2 probes, and he gets the bunker completed. Now, can he get in the bunker? Oh, look at that split! He gets one-shotted on the bottom marine, but it doesn't matter. It shuts down this base for a while, which is great for him. But he did build a few marines for it, so it wasn't like Terran did not commit anything.
Yeah, I mean, he would build those few marines regardless. But I think he's definitely getting... I think he's getting value from the bunker. But
yeah, he got value. He's going to focus the probe.
Yeah. Ooh, 3 probes. Let's go.
Yeah, that's a big
Or-
deal. Look at the worker count, 21 to 19.
With probes being pulled, he loses some mining time on top of that.
Yeah, and also, as I stated, Zhanhun can't just power. Like last game, remember, he went 1 gate cybernetics robo. This time around, he had to build 3 zealots. So
Yep.
it means that Zhanhun can't scale into mid game as fast. Of course, Gypsy's gonna have to build marines himself and a bunker, but you're gonna build the bunker anyway, and you're gonna build a couple marines anyway. Whereas you wouldn't necessarily build 3 zealots in the early stages. Now, he's got to be careful not to get run by here because these zealots have full health.
Yeah, this is a nice placement for the barracks, though. If I see this, I'm not trying to run past this because, I mean, it looks very easy to just pull SCVs and body block these out. And this is a nice scout. He's going to see everything.
Yeah, he sees everything. He sees that this guy didn't skip range, didn't get to go straight robo. So he's going to know that this is a more a balanced game or more even game going into the mid game than it was in comparison to last game where it was straight robo, straight nexus. And he's going to be feeling pretty good about the damage he's already done.
Yeah, and I think one thing that is interesting, he is gearing up for that third nexus again off 2 gateways, but he is getting range before robo, so observer is not going to be as fast as it was previously, so he's not going to get in there and see exactly what Gypsy's doing until much later. So he's playing a little blind, and we'll see if that alters his play at all. But as we can see, he's totally safe from everything. Like, Gypsy's not doing some crazy build. There's no starport. There's no vultures out on the map. So everything's pretty standard at the moment.
Well, this could be a push. Based on what we've saw from Zhanhun in previous games, taking not necessarily greedy third base, but this guy really loves to take bases overall. Gypsy might be thinking like, okay, maybe I can make a 3 tank push, marine, vulture, rally, follow-up work. And remember, he saw that the robo's late, which means there's no observer. So all of a sudden, mines become insane. So we may see a 3 tank move out, maybe 5 tank move out and go. But 5 tank move out may be a little bit too slow.
Do you keep just 4 marines? Oh, but he's coming in. What is this?
Oh, he's gonna bust this
Siege
bunker
is up.
Yeah, siege is up. He needs to focus fire those goons though. SCVs can deal with the zealots and the vultures too. He jumps on top of 1 tank. Zhanhun gonna commit here. He's gonna lose probably all of his goons, but he's gonna do a lot of economic damage. He's killed a decent amount of SCVs. Now Gypsy is actually down in SCVs. That's an amazing glitch. And let's see if he actually killed his own SCVs. So, oh my gosh, he killed 2 of his SCVs right there. The goons at the top are trying to focus down the tank. Oh, he needs to repair. He just barely is going to hold it. But so far, oh no, he got the tank.
Oh, that was actually huge.
Yeah, that is huge. And you could see that it was vultures followed up. So it did seem like Gypsy did want to go for a tank vulture marine timing, but Zhanhun just pounces on it before that could even come to fruition. Gypsy's in trouble. Did you see an armory anywhere? Okay, there it is. I was wondering, did he even get the armory? He's going into starport. He's going into 4 fact because he just flat out needs units to take his third base now. And he sees that the third nexus is already done.
Third nexus is done. Probes already got over there. Just in time. And yeah, I mean, getting that second tank was actually huge because it reset the tank count fully, and it just makes any time attack much weaker. And it looks like he is going up to 4 fact. So, is this a timing?
No, this is not a timing. This is I
just
need
to get
units
a third?
desperately. Yeah, I need units. Otherwise, I'm gonna die.
I always like just time attacks on this map, just because the third is so far away. Like, you can't take it very quick. And
Yeah, but at the same time, Protoss can like counterattack you, like what DeWalt did, and then all of a sudden you're stuck with this army, this one army, and it gets very awkward.
Well, Gypsy is gonna go ahead, mine up that 4th. I mean, on the bright side, there's not even like 9 bases for Zhanhun to take this game, so
Yeah,
It's a
but
much smaller map.
it's carriers. So actually, the timing that you're talking about could be a good follow-up because I'm looking at the vision of Zhanhun. That's an observer coming down, but before this observer got here, he had no idea what it was. It could have been 6-fac, 7-fac, 5-fac.
Yeah, air weapons is running, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be carriers, and instantly gets range. He's going to go for command center, but Gypsy has talked about how he doesn't like to play long game versus carry. He likes to go for timings versus it, and this is flat out not going to be a timing. So we'll see how effective his play is versus late game carriers.
Yeah, Protoss doesn't like timings against carriers. Like that's what you want to do against carriers is hit a time, because once carriers get to 6, I mean it's rough. 8's even worse. 10's even worse. 12, how do you stop it? I mean, carriers are just so efficient, especially upgraded carriers. I mean, you really gotta punish it before it gets out of control.
Yeah, and he's going to go for drop play, which could limit the eco of Zhanhun if he can find a successful drop at top middle, for example, because I think there's no cannon there. But what that does is it cuts into his factory count. It cuts into his unit count. Like, he has to get damage done with this drop. Meanwhile, this guy's already saw the Stargates blinking, so it's going to be 2 carriers coming out in about a minute and a half. 3 Stargates. Oh, he is in big time trouble.
Well, third's up. Can you just do a factory explosion and then go when there's 2, maybe 4 carriers?
He might, but well, he should, in fact. But like you said, if the carriers get up to 6, 7, or 8, and Protoss just gives up those bases, I mean, the carrier count will still be 8, right? You're still going to have 2 base mining. You're still going to have this insane carrier count that Terran's going to have a hard time dealing with. And eventually you will retake the 3rd and 4th base. So we may see the factory flood, and it looks like that's the case because 5th and 6th one just went down. But his window of opportunity is closing. He's almost got +2 weapon, though, and that is a massive power spike versus carriers. Wow, It's really fast, too.
Oh. Dropship does get around. There's only 1 cannon. Should shut this down, but he should get some probe kills.
Yeah, but versus someone who already has 75 probes, is this really even worth? We'll see. He's going to shut down... Even if he shuts down the gas, that could be impactful because we know Zhanhun has 3 Stargates, and that takes a lot of gas.
Oh, he even has a shuttle.
Yeah, I mean, this is Zhanhun, man. When does he not have a shuttle? Wow, a double drop?
Another drop
a double drop? He's going to go straight into the main. Oh, there's a cannon there. Closing the nick of time. How many probe kills can he get? It's a big, juicy clump right there. That's a couple. 3, 8. Okay, this is the type of damage Gypsy needs. 11? Now, that was definitely worth. The problem is, Protoss already has 4 Nexus, though. So 11 probes can get rebuilt in like 30 seconds. So good damage so far. And it will buy some time for him. But the first couple carriers I already saw have popped out.
And he knows it's carriers, right?
Well, he should. He scanned and saw the cybernetic spinning.
Because I'm seeing vultures still.
Well, you still need a lot of vultures to deal with ground. He may just be cycling into carriers at the into Goliath at the last second because you don't want to be gas starved as you're building factories, right? So that could be the reason we see just pure vultures. But if Zhanhun got a whiff of this, like, oh, hey, you're not building any anti-air, I mean, he may feel content to just attack with 3 carriers or something because he knows, well, nothing can hit me.
I feel like it's a mistake for Protoss to attack while they're going carriers. Like, you don't want to give any timing window to Terran. You just want to sit back, you just want to keep your army alive and wait for that carrier count to blossom. And
yeah, but now could be an okay timing because we're approaching max. If he bled off some few units, like even just a little right there, he just lost 6 supply. That's an additional carrier he could build right now.
Yeah,
and another carrier is completing.
Bleeding off something's fine. But we're already up to, what was that, 4 carriers?
That's 5, man.
5? Jeez.
Yeah, I'm keeping good count of that. As a Terran player, there's a difference between 4 and 5 or whatever. Another vulture attack coming into the 4th base. He's going to kill a lot of probes again. but he's going to lose a lot of vultures. Oh, this is what you need to do. He's making it awkward, just like Zhanhun was last game.
This is good too because
Yeah.
I mean, carriers. If Gypsy does, and he's getting a fourth, I like this. Okay, so he's no timing, but if you're not going for a timing, this is how you do it. Where you just want to keep the probes down, you want to slow down Protoss, make sure he doesn't get that crazy bank, get quick upgrades, and you're just gonna flood Goliath and just really just Protoss when they don't have that huge bank. I mean, interceptors get expensive at a certain point, but I still don't see Goliath.
Yeah, okay.
Just
well,
now
Goliath-
queuing.
Yeah.
But
and
we already have
carriers are-
5 carriers.
Yeah, there's 5 carriers, and I don't even see a single Goliath. Did he really just not know it was there and this was too late? Carriers are going to start racking up tank kills, man. There's 1 Goliath!
Oh, no. Not like this.
Gypsy had such good
Not
play,
like
but now
this.
everything's going to die to 5 carriers. And he's going to harass with vultures, but he's definitely not paying attention to them. He's just attacking the cannons because he knows he needs to draw attention away from these carriers. He's losing tanks left and right. The vultures are all going to die. As I stated, Protoss has 4 Nexus. They don't even necessarily care about these probes. He killed a lot of them, but he's gonna be back up to 65 probes in just a second. Meanwhile, the tank count is never gonna be back that high again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's rough.
It's 6 carriers now. That's
I
the magic
mean-
number, man. GG. Taps out.
GG. He just didn't see it.
He really just didn't see it. I thought for sure when he scanned, he noticed that the cybernetics was spinning. I don't think there was any way for him to think that that was range, but a complete misread there from Gypsy, and he was doing a lot of damage too. If he had even 1 cycle of Goliath there, that's 9 Goliaths versus 5 carriers, which don't win the fight, but at least buys you time to get out 10 more Goliaths, because he had 10 factories.
Well, 3-0 win the Protoss. in
Yeah, I
both
can hear
War
you
series.
smiling. I can hear you smiling through your voice right now.
Oh, I got the biggest banana grin on my face right now. I'm so proud of these Protoss players. Take down these scum of the earth Terran players. No, but yeah, they actually everything looked well. I mean, DeWalt made it look really easy. Zhanhun made it look really difficult. He had a very impressive style. He had a style, especially those first 2 games, that is really difficult to pull off. But his mechanics were off the charts.
Yeah, they were really good. I was worried on Ascension, watching him build Nexus after Nexus after Nexus. I'm like, okay, dude, I know you got a lot of bases and you potentially will have a lot of money, but these 400 mineral Nexuses that you're building aren't units. Like, if Gypsy attacks you, you're just going to die? Well, the answer is no, but I was a little worried there. But other than that, he looks amazing, and this is the second matchup now where Zhanhun looks convincing. PVT, he's apparently got it on lockdown, 3-0 versus arguably the strongest Terran other than Mihu. And then we know that he's a god in PvP because he already took down Boneth. And all of a sudden, this PvP of Zhanhun versus DeWalt is looking very dangerous for DeWalt, because Boneth is also someone that DeWalt maybe doesn't necessarily have trouble with, but at best goes 50-50 versus. So I think Zhanhun may actually be a favorite in that particular matchup.
I watched the Boneth Zhanhun games, and yeah, Zhanhun just, I mean, there just looked like there was no gap in his play. It was so solid. He also played against Quark, and in that same series, and just mailed him. Like, he just looked so solid PvP. Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be a rough match. It's gonna be a good match, but it's gonna be rough for probably both ends, because you can't feel confident go against DeWalt either. Like, if you're Zhanhun, DeWalt is also a god. Like, both these players are so good.
Yeah, it's going to be a very difficult round of 4, but I'm excited to see it. Even as a non-Protoss player, you don't often see the macro play that Zhanhun pulled out. Like, it wasn't a crazy all-in micro play. It was, he just flat out microed and out macroed. Like, he had 3 bases PvP, maybe even 4 bases in the Goodnight game versus Boneth. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, I'm excited to see that, and whether DeWalt can go toe-to-toe versus Zhanhun or not, because he looks unstoppable. The only person to beat him so far is Mihu. But that's it for today, guys. I can't believe it. It's 3-0 back-to-back. Protoss dominating. And so we're going to have to thank our supporters, of course, Esports Fund and Optimunk, the main supporters of BSL. And then we have our Patreon supporters at the $100 level, Star Lover, $50 level, Martin Harsmar, Striker, and Zero Sum. $30 level, Flizzardo86, Cuz, and Tupacalypse, and at the $20 level, Nicholas Schuler, Christian Eddington, LML, Ling and Pump, Niantic, and Quark. And all you other Patreon supporters, thank you so much for supporting the BSL. And as I've stated numerous times before, if you are a Patreon supporter of $10 or above, you get all the replays. You want to know how to build Nexuses like Zhanhun? You want to know how to recall nonstop? You want to know how to revert drop Dandy and bust a gasless?
What?
Get those replays. Well, you didn't know that? You didn't know you can get all the replays for $10 a month?
I didn't know that. You might see my name up there next week.
We might see Eric Rothmuller up there, the $10 level.
There you go.
Again, that's it for us today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We've got the next... Oh. We've got, first off, the next round of 4 is tomorrow. So definitely tune into that. But we also have... Yeah, the next round of 4 tomorrow is Ziki versus Xuan, and then Mihu versus Boa. So a ZVT and a Terran versus Protoss. Ziki looks so strong, but also so does Mihu. And I think they're probably going to be the favorites. But Boa and Xuan, no slouch. They could definitely make an upset here, in my opinion. But also remember, guys, we still got the race championships. Your boy played in it yesterday. G5 played in it yesterday, too. He got a kill off of Terra, right? And who was the Zerg player you killed?
Patak.
Yeah.
Yep.
So definitely check that out. Got a lot of NA players, a lot of SA players, EU players. And as I've stated, I've talked to Artosis. Seems like he's busy right now, but if he has time, he has committed to it. So maybe even the fake Dan will play in the race championship. So definitely check it out.
Number 2.
Yeah, Dan number 2. It's on Trovo, though. Trovo.live/Bombastic Starleague. It's on Thursday and Friday. So definitely check that out. And you got any final words, G5, before we get out of here?
No, just good play by everyone. I feel bad for the Terran players. We'll see Gypsy again, though, casting at least. And yeah, just thank you, Zero. Thank you, Nyokin. Fun cast.
Yeah, it was a fun cast indeed. And remember, guys, we got the round of 4 tomorrow, so definitely tune in. And me plus some unknown caster just yet will be casting, and I'm sure it will be fantastic. Oh, Seriosity, I was informed. So me and Seriosity, so definitely don't miss out on that.